Hello, everybody. This is Luca Majno here with Frank Gregory Ford once again. We're in top shape for Global News Update today on TLBTV. This is courtesy of the Liberty Beacon Project, and this is where we give you the complete backstage, up-to-date information as to the developments occurring in our world today. We've been having nothing but NSA interference. So, Greg, let's get right to it. How are you doing from sunny California?
I'm fine in sunny California. Okay, I'm just a little overwhelmed by the events I've been hearing about today.
Yeah.
So, and I think the American people need to hear them fast. Yes, let's do a snapshot first so we can get warmed up.
Okay. I'm going to share screens with you, and I want to start out with a little humor. I don't have a problem with caffeine. I got a problem without it.
We just had to
Yes, I have to throw that in because that's definitely me. Because without coffee, this is what I feel. This is the music without the notes. Okay, it doesn't work out for me. I wanted to throw in some tidbits in the news today. Scandalous CDC director resigns after caught buying shares of vaccine maker Merck while heading the CDC. Interesting. We're going to see a lot of that. Israel makes bitter enemies for America, says my friend Heather. Attempted to sink the USS Liberty in a false flag and then pulled off 9/11 and another false flag. Trump calls France, Germany, Britain, and Saudi Arabia enemies of America for their Jerusalem vote in the UN. And sticking on Trump for a minute too, I thought this was interesting. I like how the elites give us a little tidbit of information about what they're doing. Trump says it will be hard to unify the country without a major event. So Greg, I'm sure you're going to be taking notes and wanting to mention something about that as well. We know firsthand that the IRS is stealing people's Social Security investments using the excuse of interest and penalties, Heather concludes, if they didn't file. After federal U.S. Incorporated crashed the economy, stealing their incomes and their life's invested equity. So there's a lot of stuff going on against the people, as we know. I mean, this is nonstop. I never thought utility meters could actually make me sick, says somebody who's just getting into, learning about them and researching them, because this is something we all have to do. It's really important to make sure that we find out everything. There's stuff coming out, the unbelievable radiation levels and all kinds of other stuff that's, in our household, on our cell phones, even the cell phones themselves. Greg, I'm sure you're going to like this one very quickly as we go flying through Snapshot. A federal ban on making lethal viruses is lifted. The NIH will create expert panels to assess controversial research into creating pathogens that easily infect humans. Does that say anything to anybody? Are we getting it yet? How to control a nation. The 3 Ds, I call them. Distract, deceive, and divide. And I'm glad Greg is still here because we've been having interference all the time. People, do your research. This is really important. The more you do your research, the more you find out the horrors and the hidden agendas. George Orwell said, the ruling class in every age have tried to impose a false view of the world upon their followers. We're getting clues all over the place. And the first thing they want to do in education, the biggest atrocity of all, is to indoctrinate our children into a system that does not value their creative expression nor encourage their unique abilities. They just want them like sausages. They all look alike and they all fall into the grinder. Look at this, Greg. U.S. study. Brains of children with autism are loaded with aluminum. I was going to say, like, duh, as if we didn't know. There's very little money in healthy people. There's very little money in dead people. The money is right in the middle, right when they're alive. And that's what they're doing. So basically, I mean, if people stop getting cancer, we stop making profits, right? So we got to make sure that everyone focuses on the cure and not the cause. This right here is one show by itself. People are fed by the food industry, which pay no attention to health. And they're treated by the health industry, which pays no attention to food. That's probably one of the best ones by Wendell Berry. This is something I found in my Native American archive, Greg. I think you'll love this. And look at the dates as they go by. 2000 BC, here, eat this root. No, this root is heathen. Say this prayer. Oh, this prayer is superstition. Drink this potion. Oh, this potion is snake oil. Swallow this pill. No, the pill is ineffective. Take this antibiotic. And then the antibiotic is ineffective. Here, eat this root. Okay, so we're going full circle. We're finding out what's really going on with people that have been here for tens of thousands of years. Man did not weave the web of life. Hello, we're just a strand in it. Merely a strand. Whatever we do to the web, also we do to ourselves, says Chief Seattle. And this is what we're doing to the earth right now. This is exactly what we're doing to the earth, thanks to Monsanto and the toxicity of everything around us. Conformity is the jailer of freedom and the enemy of growth, said JFK. That's one of my favorite ones. And speaking of good sayings from natural law, I couldn't pass up Samuel Adams, who says, and this is important, he says, the natural liberty of man is to be free from any superior power on earth, man-made superior power on earth, and not to be under the will of legislative authority of man, but only to have the law of nature for his rule. That's the mercy of natural law. That's what that is, because we're a sovereign people. No man-made law can abrogate a fundamental human right. These men you see here in this picture are mercenary terrorists working for corporations to keep you enslaved. See, and this is how it's working. So when you put all this together, you figure that when time goes by, governments can't wait to just shove stuff under the rug and then, you know, temporize and temporize and temporize. Well, the loss of memory is the root of all oppression. Never forget that, because the dead people cannot talk. With 492 billionaires living in this country, Greg, and 16 million kids living in poverty, according to Bernie Sanders, just to make people think a little bit. This is something that really affects me, and it's a really good question. It's probably one show in the nutshell by itself. Corporations are raping the world and killing humanity. At what point can we claim self-defense? It's a really good question. When can you, hey, whoa, enough is enough. United Nothings is basically what it is. When you find out that the UN was put in place by Rockefeller and Rothschilds to protect themselves and to protect the powerful. Everything makes sense with all the infrastructure falling, with America starting to implode on itself. Yes, this planet got destroyed, but for a beautiful moment in time, we created a lot of values for shareholders. Yeah. This is my last one. This is called overconfidence. It's absolutely adorable. This is going to end in disaster, and you only have yourself to blame for it. So we won't find out what happened to that cat sandwich, Greg. I just have to leave it at that, because the rest is probably X-rated.
That eagle is probably thinking, do I like dark meat or do I like...
Which side first, eh?
Yeah, and that poor kitty doesn't know it. I'm sure that kitty is no longer with us.
Wait till he sees the size of the paws, of the claws. Hmm?
Oh, no. I took a cruise into Alaska, and the inner waterway system, I forget what they call that up there, up to Alaska. And thank
Northwest
God,
Passage.
Inland Passage, thank you. And the nice thing about it was all the bald eagles I have never seen so many bald eagles. Okay, and they are a magnificent bird, and thank goodness. I know the Alaskans don't have a very high opinion of bald eagles, but the fact is you'll have a high opinion of them when they're not there. All right, when you can't see them anymore. We pulled up to a dock in Ketchikan, and the fellow who was handling the rope to put over the pylon, he actually got into a little tussle with a bald eagle who decided that pylon was really his.
Uh-oh.
And you want something that was funny and entertaining. Watch a grown man with a rope fight with a bald eagle who doesn't want to move and doesn't want to leave his perch.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you for that, and Luca, I greatly appreciate those. Those are all thought-provoking, and they are especially true as of today. All right, more than ever, but especially today. And that's why I wanted to vote for Bernie Sanders. That's why Bernie Sanders was actually ambushed, okay, when he was running for president. He has always been 100% for the people of this country and the people receiving a good way of living, a good life. And yes, unlike those flaky, treasonous pieces of shit, okay, that Mr. Trump, excuse me, Freudian slip there, that Mr. Let me see, Hillary Clinton, all right, and of course that excuse, that sorry ass excuse, Bush, what was his name, Jeb Bush? Oh my, these people have been rearing their heads, yes, rearing their heads the last few days. What is it about these evil, twisted, inbred sons of bitches? I don't know, okay? After today, I'm still more mystified than ever, and I will get to it.
Yeah,
but
let us
yes, I want Bernie Sanders to run again, all right? I would love to have Bernie Sanders run if he has what it takes, the energy to go through this again without that cutthroat, backstabbing, thieving, lying, drug dealing bitch, Hillary Clinton. Okay?
Right.
So, all right, there it is. I can't be any straighter, any simpler, than to call a spade a spade. I'm so tired of this political correctness, political nonsense. It is basically the camouflage cape of all that's wrong in this country is being politically correct. Nothing gets done. Nobody ever speaks a straight bit of language to each other. Okay, you're all scared to death of, quote, hurting each other's feelings. Say what? Hurting each other's feelings? Okay, so yes, and by the way, you mentioned laws, natural laws and man-made laws. Well, I would call laws as being similar to sausages, okay? Like Kaiser Wilhelm, okay, of Germany. He said, hey, laws after they're made are great, and nothing is more gruesome than watching the process of laws being made and formulated, all right? You love the end product, but boy, you don't want to see it being made. And that's the same way in America, all right? So, yes, our laws, okay, should be considered sacred and born out of a process of need, okay, quite often a process out of agony. And that's why I look at all these pimps, these running around, selfish, greedy pimp lawyers, and they know who they are. They know exactly who they are. All right. So anyway, yeah, and that is a major issue when if I run for president, okay, at the head of the Bull Moose Party, guess what? Okay, the first overhaul in this country, okay, it's just straightforward and simple. I'm going to overhaul the Constitution and the courts. Okay, the courts and all these phony baloney laws, determined to give the kleptocracy even more of a bite, more of a cut into the elected body of the people. All right, guess what? These attorneys, they better not see me walk into the Oval Office. That's where it's all going to start. And believe me, it's going to be very pretty, not pretty. Okay, understand it. It won't be pretty. All right, but that's where we have to start overhauling. You know, and I don't care. You say the head of, what was it, CDC?
CDC,
okay,
yes.
The Center for Disease and Control.
Yes.
Yeah. Was this busted for buying shares of Merck? Oh gosh, gee, is that the first time that's happened?
Mm.
Now, why would she know? Why would she know to buy shares of Merck?
Mm.
Okay, and where is the SEC? Okay, well, the SEC is probably in the same place they were when I went to them for help on a company called Stryker. I've never mentioned Stryker to our listeners before. Hey, here's what happened. They went, several thousand people invested in Stryker. It's an oil company, okay, pumping oil and transport. And it's in Texas, imagine, in Texas. And what happens? Okay, everybody, oh, you can't lose, you can't lose. My investment counselor actually went to Texas and actually looked down the holes and came back and said, yes, guess what, folks? It's 100% solid. I've looked at the books, gone through everything, did our homework, okay? Guess what? The CEO of Stryker Oil, he took off and went to Romania. And the FBI caught him in Romania with $100 million, okay, of Stryker funds. Well, it comes back to Texas. A judge in Texas says, oh no, Stryker doesn't have to give any of that money back that they ripped off. Oh no, they can keep all their assets that they use as collateral for the people making these investments. Mm. Anybody has a problem with that? And of course, the courtroom immediately went nuts, and they had to clear the courtroom by force, okay? And what did the SEC say? Nothing, absolutely nothing, all right? Oh, well, oh. Boy, the SEC, they're number 2 right after all these flaky, pimped out lawyers we've got in this country that are busy dismantling this country. The SEC's got to get it. And then you're going to see maybe some honest investments, all right?
Yeah.
Because you know what? When I had my case of review, I'm sorry, I'm waxing a little eloquent here. My case for review came up with the SEC. The 3 people that were supposed to have known something about stock, one of them fell asleep. This is at the Mark Hopkins Hotel in San Francisco, for my view, on what happened to the thousands that I put into Stryker, okay? One guy fell asleep. He couldn't stay awake. The other guy couldn't hear, and these are old farts, okay?
Right.
And he couldn't hear, all right? And the other guy said, well, look, I just joined this FINRA, okay? FINRA, all right? Financial Regulatory something agency.
Okay.
Okay. And, you know, they do the actual talking for the SEC. And he says, I don't know anything about FINRA regulations or SEC laws. So I'm just kind of here listening. Say what? Thousands and thousands of my dollars are at stake here. And this is what the guy does. And then they try to turn around and the rip-off artist that pulled all this crap, you know what they did? They were going to pull his license, and I demanded that they do something. So they tried to restore his license. I said, so what are you people doing? Are you out of your minds? And they said, well, he wouldn't have a way to make a living. This is the SEC. This
Right.
is who takes in money, you know, for America, the spine, the central nervous system of our financial institution. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then, okay, it's hard to believe that this is all going on. Okay. They said he won't have a way to make a living. And this is 2 weeks after the SEC got caught buying pornography, millions and millions of dollars of pornography on their computers. And so They get caught. So what does this wonderful institution do that's supposed to be protecting the consumer? They say, oh, well, guess what? Yeah, there was a little glitch with our $40 million of pornography. that we bought online, okay? So our bored out of their mind regulators, instead of protecting, people that are being ripped off, can watch pornography. Debbie Does Dallas, or maybe Stormy Daniels, okay?
Right.
If you know who Stormy Daniels is, all our listeners.
Well,
yes.
now apparently Stormy Daniels is taking her story back, and she's saying, no, it didn't really happen that way. She didn't really have sex with him, after saying that she did. So, right.
See what I mean? See what I mean about straight talk, okay, being politically correct and all this nonsense, okay? So what we have then is, then the SEC says, well, we need $200 million to upgrade our systems. Okay, this is on top of the 40 million worth of pornography that they got caught with. Okay, so this is something I've never talked about or spoken about before, but this is what happened. So it just encourages somebody who is charged with the health of millions, hundreds of millions of people, like the CDC director. Oh, well, maybe I'll pad my retirement. Okay, well, people are these flakes are padding their retirement several hundred times a day in American government, okay? So why not sweeten the pot, okay?
Of course.
Here, let's do this, okay? Every time you get caught doing something like this, abusing your position, abusing the trust of the American people, guess what, folks? You're going to Leavenworth. You're going to actually make something of your life, because you're going to learn how to make really fine government furniture. You're going to learn how to make government license plates, okay, at Leavenworth, all right? And when you get caught selling, I can think of a couple people right now that qualify immediately, let alone the Bush family. They are, by the way, they are the largest drug dealers in history, world history, okay? The Bush family are drug dealers, and they are responsible for the opium epidemic we are seeing now. 200 people a day dying from overdoses. Yes. Gee, see how this works? Well, their little lapdogs, the Clintons, were making $10 million a month on top of their government wages when Bill Clinton was governor of Arkansas. Now, does it look like they're in prison? No, I'll answer that for you, okay? No, they're not in prison, all right? They're busy doing other crimes. They're busy murdering other people.
Right.
Yes, Hillary Clinton is murdering other people right now. I mean, we do a body count every week, Luca, and one of the American people say, oh gosh, that's really bad, okay? I mean, it makes Jeff Sessions look like, the Rock Hudson of the legal profession. Okay. I mean, Mr. Turtle, he actually is demonstrating a little bit more courage than the American people when it comes to holding these crooks responsible. What part about that don't you understand, America? These crooks don't give a shit what you think, and they're going to use your money to enrich themselves every chance they get. Today, I got a 911 call. Please, Greg, pick up. We got to tell you what's happening, okay? Well, first of all, Julian Assange is probably one of the few people out there that is saving your ass, okay? He's been saving your butt for a long time, America. Wake up. He's been saving your butt, all right? And Julian Assange notified Trump, okay, the president of the United States, that yes, okay, he has information now, and I believe him because I have sat right here, right in this chair, and told you folks exactly what is happening, okay? When Kennedy was assassinated, 10 countries had to sign off on his assassination, okay? And of course, the agency couldn't even get the body in the right tomb right, okay? Kennedy isn't buried where you think he is, people, okay? Don't believe me? Let's exhume him and check him out, okay? All right, let's do that, all right? That'll make you feel a whole lot better about, me telling you all of this. Well, yes, Kennedy is not in Arlington, all right, as a result. It turns out, yes, and I've been saying all along that Kennedy, okay, was executed execute, forget assassinated. That sounds really high-powered, high intrigue. He was assassinated, okay, by 8 assassins on Dealey Plaza, okay? That's what the sonic boom was, is they had to open fire on him altogether before they finally blew his head off, okay, from 15 feet away. The gunman was 15 feet away when his head was blown off, okay? He said, yes, and I want you to listen to this, Mr. Trump. He said he was going to dismantle the CIA. It was crooked. It was drug dealing. Even back in the early 60s, it was drug dealing. What part about that don't you understand? If you don't think so, just ask Chiang Kai-shek how he paid his army, selling drugs to the Americans, okay? And if you were stupid enough to get busted using drugs, hey, they threw you into a prison. Hey, no problem. Cool, okay? Has that affected anyone to the state? No, we still have, how many wars have we had since Vietnam? Okay, excuse me, police actions, okay, right. Or undeclared wars, 4, 5, all right.
So what happened with Assange? Don't keep us in suspense like that.
Okay, sorry. Julian Assange, all right, has said, look, Mr. Trump, they're going to try to kill you. Those countries that signed off on Kennedy's assassination, guess what? Okay, they're signing off on your assassination, Mr. Trump. Did anybody hear that? Did everybody hear that? Russia, okay, China, all right. Yeah, there's about 8 more that really want Mr. Trump assassinated, okay? Killed, murdered, executed, slaughtered, butchered, okay? Everybody understand those non-political terms? That's what's going on. That's why Julian Assange is saving the life of our elected president, all right? Today, oh, there was a concrete truck somehow magically stalled in front of a presidential train, okay? You know, do you understand that? Somehow this happened, okay? You know, gee, it's almost like something that goes on with Kennedy, okay? Yeah, there it is, okay? Something happened like with Kennedy. Mysteriously, he had his security removed going into Dealey Plaza. He was a sitting duck, okay? And so what we have here now is Trump, probably that's not the first attempt on his life, I'll bet, okay? And secondly, okay, this seems to come at a very, very trying time for America, okay? Understand that what we have here is right now, America is attempting to save itself from its own cancers, its own cancers. The CIA, where was the CIA? Where was Mr. Bush when Mr. Kennedy was getting his head blown off? He was only a few feet away. You know, you want to see a picture of him standing there looking casual, because he was basically the director of the CIA, and he was very annoyed at Mr. Kennedy. Okay, it's a family thing. All right. So yes, they were going to continue making drugs, selling drugs like they did in the Caribbean. You know, K-Sal Bank, Mr. Bush, the K-Sal Bank. Remember? All right. I've been there. I'm sure there's nobody in the sound of this voice in this show that's ever been to the K-Sal Bank. I have been there. All right. So Mr. Bush, very casually with his hands in his pockets, slouching against with his back against the Texas Book Repository, watched our president get slaughtered. And he's attempting to do the same thing now. That kinder and gentler man, okay, remember? That's what he said, kinder and gentler, no new taxes. Is any of that true? So Mr. Trump, you better, to save your soul, you better dismantle the CIA. Is that hard to understand? Is that hard to understand? Because, hey, if you don't, you're dead. Okay, it's just that simple. Look at history. You don't believe me? Don't believe this show? Hey, what do we always say, Luca? Don't believe us. Okay, go research on your own. Okay, but you better not take too much time Mr. Trump, because your days are numbered if you don't follow through, grow a set, okay? Yes, and those, what is it? As I was told today, those almost 1,000 indictments are to be served at the CIA headquarters within what, 20 days? All right, that's the way it looks. Within 20 days, they're going to be indicting 1,000 members of the CIA for criminal affairs. You better do it. Quit wishy-washy, mealy mouth, just nonsense like this that has got Kennedy killed. It got an atrocity named Obama elected, and for 8 years he raped this country. We've got a situation here. It's happening. Oh, did you know? And also I heard this too. I'll bet it's true that Mr. Obama and Mr. Bush, funny how they kind of just stick together, kind of like the Bushes and the Clintons, okay? The brother and sister team that they wanted as children, okay? Well, hey, folks, these people are weird, really strange. But here's the deal, okay, is that Mr. Bush and Mr. Obama signed an agreement with the Chinese. The Chinese, okay, all right. All this stuff in the South Pacific, that's all just distraction. Didn't I tell everyone, the sound of my voice, that no intelligence operation happens without a distraction, usually halfway around the world, okay? See, as I said in Iraq, the Gulf War, okay, the Gulf and all the oil being shipped out to the U.S. to be refined, it really wasn't, okay? Because there was a distraction there called Abu Ghraib. Oh, Abu Ghraib, something I know nothing about, right? Okay. Well, in this case, we have something here that is happening, and I know it overwhelms the senses, but Trump and, Obama and Bush, all right, signed an agreement allowing the Chinese and the Russians, who put an enormous amount of money, there's the M word again, okay? Enormous amount of money, and if we default on those payments to China, to Russia, guess what? They have it in writing that they can show up to the United States shores, and everything they want, they can have those payments. The balance of payments is made. They can take it via force, because guess what? The American U.S. forces are going to help them. Don't think so. Does it sound outlandish? Everything I've said that sounded outlandish has all proven true. Okay, they're going to come in and kick you and your children and your family right out of your house. If they like your house, they'll take it. Guess where you're going? Okay, got to go to a FEMA camp. Oh, good luck there. Okay, you paid for it, but it doesn't mean you get anything for it. All right, but that's what they're going to do. And don't think, the Russians don't know how to do it. All right, don't think the Chinese don't know how to do it, and don't think that they won't do it if they have half a chance. All right, believe me, they will, folks. And do you know how this all happened? It all happened because we had a president who no one could figure out where he was from, okay, where he was born, all right. We can't even figure out if his wife is a female, okay. How did that happen? I can tell you how that happened. I was a counterintelligence agent with the duties of running down the veracity of presidential candidates, okay. You know who the only person in our body politic in America doesn't have to have a background clearance?
Of course.
You get one guess. Sorry, you missed. All right. Yes, the President of the United States. And I asked about that so we wouldn't have compromising situations like the Clintons. Okay. No, their whole life is pimped out selling of themselves to whoever has money. The bankers, okay, the drug dealers, the agency, okay, people that have slaughtered and skinned this country alive, okay, they'll sell that to anybody cheaply now, okay. So guess what? I was told that they wouldn't have anybody that could qualify, okay, after all the compromises, all the sellouts, they could not get anybody that was clean enough to pass a TSSBI. That stands for Top Secret Special Background Investigation, as required for access to compartmental information and intelligence. Okay, I know that sounds pretty complicated, but it basically means, hey, are there any films out there showing the President of the United States raping a 13-year-old girl? Okay, are there any pictures showing the First Lady doing something really suspicious to some young 13-year-old girl? In fact, it's the same 13-year-old girl. Anything like that? Now, I've noticed that the screen and the transmission is beginning to distort. Yeah. I think they're on to us, Luca. But at this point, folks, understand this, okay? We are in very dangerous waters right now. Dangerous times.
Greg,
right? It can't be any clearer than it is.
Before you change the subject, I have to share screens with you to show you this that I just saw today from my friend Heather on Trump. Again, I'm shaking my head in disgust, she says. It would be one thing if some of these lands now up for grabs were being opened for settlements or displaced and homeless Americans. But letting insatiable and completely unscrupulous transnational corporate hitmen get away with desecrating and destroying formerly protected natural areas for expedient extraction of resources is an incomprehensible obscenity. And the Q says, outrageous gold rush style grab of public lands to begin Friday. So,
wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So that just tells you how much they care about the original treaties. It's just a step-by-step process. They don't care. That's what we always say. They don't care.
And they don't care with a level of arrogance and hubris that is beyond description. Now, most people that hear this, either, they're half asleep. Oh, these guys, especially this Dr. Ford guy. Oh, he's full of it. Okay. Well, guess what, folks? If you're middle class, if you don't live in some place like Ferrara or someplace in the south of France, hey, guess what? Your butts, okay, are just roasted breasted chicken to these folks. I don't care how smart you think you are, how tough you think you are, how indifferent you think you are going to be hurting very shortly. Okay, There's only 1% of 1% only qualify for that privileged range of folks. That number is going down every year who's really qualified for it. Okay, but in this case, hey, for example, I've got a little pop quiz. How often do I give a pop quiz? I usually do all the talking. How many oil platforms, drilling platforms, do you think are in Yellowstone National Park? Okay, well, you'd be wrong. I'm sure everybody's trying to guess that. You'd be wrong. Would it be 100? Would it be 500? Would it be 1,500? No, folks, there's 35,000 oil platforms drilling in one of the most volatile lava domes on the planet, Yellowstone. Okay, and what's going to happen? All right, the lava dome is building every day, building pressure. But here's these idiots drilling. These morons are drilling. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because there's lava there. There's oil there. Oh. Well, I'm confused. Okay. Guess what? And guess who's going to get the bill when it all comes due? You people. Does that take the smile and the smirk off your face? You people are going to get the bill because you've always gotten the bill. All right. What do you think takes care of the 200 dead bodies every day in this country? You do. Just ask Purdue Pharmaceuticals. Okay. McKesson Pharmaceuticals. You think they care if the Native Americans are being wiped out literally because of all the opiates that the white doctors, the Caucasian doctors, okay, prescribe for them? Of course not. Okay. Yeah. And they're so arrogant, as I started to say, McKesson told the Cherokee Council in Tahlequah, Pound Sand, you can't sue us, you can't sue the government, you can't sue anybody. Because guess what? We put those laws through to stop you.
Yeah.
Okay, to stop you. Okay, don't. And there we are. I mean, you know, let's face it. Today, I had people calling me in a panic. They want me to know that yes, this thing is a disaster. It's happening right now. Okay, the deep state is even beginning to look afraid. All right,
Yeah.
Pathogens. Okay, diseases. All right, guess what? We need to have doctors take care of us if we start to get sick. Well, have they slowed down the chemtrails? No, we're right in the middle of an epidemic affecting children with the new flu viruses that have been modified and weaponized. Okay, weaponized. All right. So guess what? I found out today. Yes, all controls on deadly viruses. Okay, you know, you see those pictures of everybody in little, you know, insecticide outfits, you know, in freezers with viruses that are frozen. Okay,
Yep.
well, guess what? Those pathological viruses are going to be turned loose on who? You, because you know what? You're going to get sick. Your loved ones are going to get sick, and you're going to run to the nearest doctor. Okay, allopathic doctor, big monuments to healing. Okay, and have you ever heard of anybody really being healed? Okay, due to modern medicine? Of course not. Cancer? Of course not. Hey, they've got so many, you can't even find a bed. In California, you'll play hell trying to find a bed if you get sick with something that came out of the sky, okay, which is being sprayed over your house right now, and
Yeah.
you are sick, okay? Well, just to make sure things really work right is now the CDC, okay? Gee, that's what the gal just did. I just told you at the beginning of this show. The gal, okay, that runs the CDC bought stock in Merck. Guess who treats a lot of those pathological cycles, okay, with allopathic medicine? Merck, one of the biggest in the world, Merck, okay? That, in other words, she is taking stock out, okay, on lethal diseases, killing thousands and thousands and thousands of people. If they can do it, hey, they'll kill a few million people.
And we're showing screens again, and I wanted to show this one again, just in case people did miss it. A federal ban on making lethal viruses is lifted. The NIH will create expert panels to assess controversial research into creating pathogens that easily infect humans. So there you have it.
There you have it, folks. Now, the NIH, National Institute of Health, okay, gosh, they wouldn't be doing anything as nefarious as weaponizing, turning something loose, cultivating it, putting it into aerial spray to drop on your house to get you and your family sick so you'll spend more money, okay? All right? They wouldn't be doing anything like that. No. Let's be realistic. They wouldn't.
Same as the MIT. MIT would never do that, right?
Now, you know, and I look back and remember, folks, I did receive brain damage. Yes, it's acknowledged. You know, when I tried to stand up for the people who couldn't stand up for themselves at Abu Ghraib prison, which I found out today is a flashpoint. It was the flashpoint to notify the deep state. Did you hear the air go all quiet when I said the deep state? Okay. Well, when the deep state, okay, guess what, folks? It used Abu Ghraib as a censor to find out if the American people would tolerate other people being horribly torn to pieces on live, full definition, high color corrected visual pictures. Okay, they wanted to see if Americans would actually accept the fact that other Americans, in fact, your sons, your daughters, were doing this to other human beings. Okay, and guess what they found out? Yes, you will accept it. Yes, you'll think your son's a hero or your daughter's a hero. Well, they don't think I'm a hero. I blew the whistle on those ass bites, okay? And they're still trying to cover it up. Can't we all just get along? That's what you hear from the Pentagon, okay? Let's just put it behind us, all right? Well, folks, that was a flashpoint to find out if Americans would accept industrialized torture inflicted on innocent people. So, you know, the kleptocracy could make $1 trillion. You know how much Dianne Feinstein's husband made when Iraq was moving underway? Okay, by the way, Dianne Feinstein's husband, Senator Feinstein, actually owns the largest private intelligence agency in the world. Okay? Does that impress everybody? Well, I should know a little bit about being in the intelligence community. I know. Well, for every year that Iraq ran, okay, Iraq ran. By the way, I have a chest congestion from being tortured myself, so I have a little personal stake in all of this. He made, are you listening, folks? He made $600 million a year, okay, while Iraq was running. And don't think that Dianne Feinstein, liberal, of course, Democrat, liberal, San Francisco, all right, her office is less than, what, 3 miles from the headquarters of my office, my intelligence unit on Zoo Road in San Francisco, okay, the ones that initiated the torture process at Abu Ghraib. Does that sound a little ironic, folks? Well, Nancy Pelosi, okay? Nancy Pelosi, all right? Well, she resides in 2 separate homes, okay? Now, you really can't call them tract ranch homes, all right? Nancy Pelosi lives in 2 massive, beautiful mansions. Each one's worth several $1 million. Now, how did that happen, okay? Little mom baking apple pie decides to run for to be a senator out of California, of course, you know, liberal, deeply concerned about the human race. Well, I contacted Nancy Pelosi's office myself. That's right. Can everyone hear me, Luca?
We're doing good so far.
Okay, good. Now, I contacted Nancy Pelosi's office. Oh, I see we're distorting here.
Yeah.
Okay, Nancy Pelosi's office, and I actually spoke to a little lamebo, whiny, pissy little suck-up lamebo by the name of Alex Lazar. Okay, remember that, because he wrote off the agony, the America's greatest war crimes. Okay, when presented in writing to Nancy Pelosi, who just the day before had swore up and down she had no idea that was happening at Abu Ghraib. He stated that he would not subject her to anything embarrassing as my court case concerning the people that were being slaughtered, horribly at Abu Ghraib prison. All right. Well, now I find that ironic. Okay, and I don't really want to go on too much more because my life is an open book. All right, always has been.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, and then of course many people have paid the price to Bradley Manning. Okay, look at the price Bradley Manning paid. Okay, yeah. I was tortured, renditioned, flown out of a country with no orders, but look what happened to Bradley Manning. Look what happened to Julian Assange. Okay, look what he has done for you people out there. He's managed to keep your president alive. And is there any thanks? No, there isn't a thanks. Okay, understand this, is we are right at the pinnacle. We are teetering right on the edge. This beast that has controlled this country since World War II, okay, doesn't want to let it go. It likes it being here. The Bush family likes being the Bush family. They love being the Bush family. the Rothschilds. Love being the Rothschilds. All right. So there it is, folks. You know, everyone is scared to death right now. We are teetering on the edge of indictments, thousands of indictments.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it serves them damn
CIA,
right. It serves them damn well. It really does. After being crooked like that and doing what they're doing, yes, sir. That's called karma. It comes and comes and goes. It comes and goes. Whatever you do comes around in a circle. But Greg, we're almost out of time. Last words, famous last words.
Okay. Well, just remember, hey, you know, that right now there is expected to be 1,000 indictments just in the CIA alone. All right. 1,000 indictments. How did that happen? Okay. How did we get here? All right. Well, that is a drop in the bucket from what is needed. Okay. And the only horse we can hook our wagon to is sitting in the Oval Office, unfortunately. All right. But Mr. Trump, that is the only way you're going to survive for the next 3 years. All right. Is you do what you say you're going to do, what you've told the American people you're going to do. Wipe that smug, smirky New York, you know, facade off your face and get to work. You know how to do it. Get to work. Okay. Don't embarrass Americans anymore, and don't subject America to this monstrosity of an election that you subjected us to. And do your job. If you want to make it through the next 3 years with your head attached to your shoulders, don't end up like Mr. Kennedy. You better take my advice. You better take the advice of several wise people who know. All right. And as a closing note, I spoke to Cody Snodgrass. All right, Cody Snodgrass. And yes, he said to remind everyone, hey, the thing that kicked all this off was the Oklahoma City bombing. And he was hired to do the bombing. What does that tell you? You know, you cubicle commandos out there. Oh yeah, we've got the answers. No, you don't. All right, people like Cody Snodgrass do, and he is trying to warn you right now. And what is in the bag? Okay, virtually everybody else has died in the process of trying to warn you. All right, so take it for what it is, and let's make sure that Trump is held to his word. All right, President Trump is held to his word, and he does what he does. And guess what, Mr. Trump? You'll find your numbers going north instead of south. They've been going south so far. They will be going north, okay? Yes, we'll support you as you restore the safety and sanctity of our government, all right? And the Constitution won't be, quote, George W. Bush, okay, that half-wit from Texas, all right? It won't be exactly. It will not be something, okay, as embarrassing as what he referred to it as. He didn't like being held responsible by a goddamn piece of paper.
Right.
And the Americans sat still and took that?
Well, Greg, you mentioned Cody Snodgrass and his integrity. I have to mention yours because without you, these shows wouldn't be possible. So we can't thank you enough for what you're giving of your personal experience and your gut-wrenching stories. But everything's coming full circle, and we're going to get what we deserve, each one of us. Have a good night, and we'll see you on the next show.
And thank you to our listeners for listening to me. All right, and please don't sit there. Do.
Move! Do something.
Yeah, anything.